So let's find some of these things we've been talking about in our statistics chapter here for some data using a spreadsheet. So we've got these two groups of dogs. We talked about them in the standard deviation video. These pictures we find on page 365, and then on page 366 we are given the weights of each dog. So this first group I'm calling group 1, and this picture down here, group 2. Let's find the mean. So this is using an Excel function. So I click on where I want it to be and I press equals. Now in Excel, if I want the mean, that is called the average. So I could just start typing it. And when I put the parenthesis there, then it's like, oh hey, I think I figured out what you're doing. You would like to use a range of numbers. I close it up, press enter, and there it is. Another way to do it, let's do it for group 2. I'd press equal, and over here I've got some recent ones that I've done. Average being right at the top. If it wasn't at the top, well, excuse me, I could search average. Now it's guessing what I want to find the average of. Excuse me. I don't want it to find the average of all of that. Here. There we go. Mommy. So I've got my range of cells that I want. Press enter. Let's try that again. Okay, activated it. I think I clicked somewhere else, so it wasn't working. There we go. Okay, now for the median. Okay, let's escape out of all that. Okay, equals. I'm just going to start typing median, parenthesis, up. There we go. It recognized that that's what I want. I'm going to choose the range I want, and there it is. Or I can go, I could go here again and look, or I'm going to click on formulas. Insert function, and that'll pull that thing up again. Or I can look at all these little submenus, and it's kind of organized based on what kind of math it is. Here's my recently used. There's some financial things. This ... is like a whole bunch of them that isn't fitting on the page because my window's too small. And here we see statistical. Now, there's a lot of stuff in here that we're not using because this isn't a statistics course. We're just doing a chapter on statistics. But if you're trying to find the mean and you aren't getting mean because it's called average, then you might want to go here if you kind of forgot that, or something similar was happening and you were looking for something and it wasn't under the name of what you thought it might be. And you could kind of just like sort around. You could also go on the internet and just Google, how do I find the mean on Excel? And I'm sure it'll pop up. type in average. So we want median. There it is. I want to find the median, not of D15, but of this group. There we go. Okay. Okay, let's find the mode. So equals mode, parenthesis, this group. What? That's like an error message type thing. Huh? Let's think about what mode is. Mode is the most frequently occurring data value. Let's look at this data. There are no repeats. None of them occur more frequently than the other. That's why it's not giving it to me. Let's just practice and see if there was a repeat, what would happen. So let's pick one and make it repeat, like 73. This isn't really one of those dogs in the picture. We're just practicing. So now if I do equals mode, and I choose my weight plus that extra one. Oh, look at that. It found the one that occurred the most frequently. But that 73 isn't actually part of my real data. So I'm just going to say none. Let's try here. Equals mode, parenthesis, choose them all. Oh, wait. There aren't any repeats. None. Okay, mid-range. Okay, so I start typing mid-range. Oh, and nothing popped up automatically. Let's go over here and look for it. Mid-range. There isn't one. I actually knew there wasn't one, but I'll tell you what to do. Okay, remember how mid-range is the smallest plus the biggest divided by 2? We can do that. Equals the smallest, which is the minimum, plus the biggest, the maximum. Choose those same numbers. And then I want to take what that is. I'm going to put parentheses around the whole thing. Divided by 2. So once again, equals smallest plus biggest divided by 2. So smallest, minimum, plus biggest, maximum, put parentheses, an extra set parentheses around min plus max, because I want all of that on the numerator of the fraction, and then divided by 2. So divided by 2. The range is the distance between the biggest and the smallest. So we can find that really in a really similar way using our min and max again. So just the distance between them, so we can say equals the biggest minus the smallest. Max. Oops. There we go. Max minus min. I turned on my caps lock. That's why one's capitalized and one isn't, but it doesn't matter. Let's try it for this one. Equals max minus min. That's how far apart, how big of a space that those data points take. Now finally, standard deviation. This is really important to be able to do because this is the only way I'm asking you to be able to do it. You don't need to do it by hand. So standard deviation. Now recall, there is sample standard deviation and population standard deviation. We're going to use sample standard deviation, and that's it right there. So equals, I'm going to start spelling out ST. In fact, if I go here, if I wasn't sure what it was called, oh dear, got all kinds of things in there. Let's start over. Equals. If I wasn't sure what it was called, and I started typing too fast, I might miss it. So you might possibly want to write this down. Or you can Google it. I'm doing the standard deviation with a range of my data points. Once again, pick the standard deviation, the sample standard deviation. Well, let's get it to turn on. There we go. And we ended up with some extra stuff. But we got it. We got it. There we go. In your book, on page, boy, can I show it? There we go. On page 357, this is kind of what it looks like. 357. Here, let me type it down here. Page 357. It talks about finding the average, the median, the mid-range on a spreadsheet. Then, on page 371, it talks about finding the range and the standard deviation. So you can also look in your book and find those formulas.